Welcome to Healings and Meditations with Frank Jordan and the Earth Mind Think Tank Group. We welcome all listeners and chatters. Any questions can be called in to 1-775-657-5973. 1-775-657-5973. If you're in the chat room on Wolf Spirit Radio, which is wolfspiritradio.com/wolf chat, please post questions in uppercase letters, in capital letters. Thank you. Now on with the show. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Good morning, everyone. This is Frank Jordan with the Wolf Spirit Radio Group and the Earth Mind Meditation Group. And we're broadcasting out through the various facilities over the world. And our intention here is to work with the Earth Mind energies to help keep everything in balance so that humanity can continue its growth and evolution. And we're having a beautiful day up here in the Pacific Northwest. There's been plenty of moisture that has everything growing. The sunshine is out, is warming everything up now, and growth is happening. Trees are in full bloom, and it's looking toward a good year. And I understand I see in the weather patterns, there is moisture going through California now. You Californians, is that enough to be effective with the drought?
It's better, but I think we're still, they're saying that the snowpack was up to maybe 35% of normal, so it's still stressed. It's better, but there's a ways to go for water.
The long-time irrigation would be the problem. Well, to solve that, we have out in the Pacific Ocean right now an incredible low building up, swirling all the way down from the Aleutian Islands down almost as far as Hawaii. And it's a slow rotation, because the high pressure that's been holding the Pacific weather out has moved on into the central area of the United States. So the flow is beginning to come in, and a low can move across and really not generate any moisture. So our focus this morning should be initially to focus on that weather pattern and to work directly with the Devic consciousness of the earth to warm the earth, to raise the surface of the ocean so that more evaporation will occur, and so that weather pattern will begin spiraling and carrying more moisture with it, so that when it does reach us, it can act as a pump and just keep on pumping moisture in here. So get that visualization in your mind, and we'll work on that in a bit here. The second thing is the world is still struggling with the reevaluation of the global currencies. And even though the world is in agreement that it needs to be done to stabilize the economy of the world, there is still one big force and factor that's resisting it, and that is the United States government. Because once again, the domination forces have had control through the Federal Reserve System and through our governmental policies, have had control of the monetary system ever since our nation was established. And the Federal Reserve System, being a foreign corporation, is the main factor that dictates what happens in the United States. And our congressmen are all fed by that, unfortunately. And the ones who do try to resist can't get anything done. So we're going to work on that this morning to break down the U.S. Congress resistance to the new IMF rules. Everything's set up and in order. Will be fair to the world. The world will have a vote in how things are done. But the problem you can get in your mind right now is this. When the Fed got themselves set up as the reserve currency of the world, that means that every international trade had to go through the U.S. dollar, the Federal Reserve dollar, and to be translated into funds for the other countries. In other words, Vietnam could not deal directly with Canada. It had to go through the U.S. Now, when that happens, when that transition occurs, the federal government, the Fed system, gets a percentage of everything that passes through it. So, and the entire world economy is feeding the Federal Reserve System, who are controlled by the cartel, the Illuminati. And so there's trillions of dollars pouring into their funds, their storehouses of fiat money. And they set this up so that they could manipulate it and not have to have solid resources like gold in exchange or anything like that. And so this is why they're resisting. And because they have so much money, they could literally buy our congressman and literally rule the United States and thus the rest of the world. So is that the way you see it, Mike? Give us your overview.
I think that's a good summary. What came into my mind while you were talking is this is almost exactly what the King George and the British were doing to us before the Revolution, is that they refused to allow, the U.S. started building ships and trying to trade directly with other countries, France, like that, and the British demanded that all trade go through their ports between the U.S. and other countries, and that was one of the things that catalyzed the I think the awareness of the public that this green paper is not something that's a store of value that they should be chasing after and coveting, and that the states in particular, or on local levels, banks and credit unions can be formed to pool our own resources and essentially start boycotting to the extent possible their system. So once people start to get an accurate understanding of what money really is, on the deepest level, the way it's structured now, it's actually just another control mechanism. And that, just because you have a pile of them in your hand or in the bank, you're no more secure than you were the day before, because it's fiat. They can change it anytime they want. So it's really not something that we should allow to exert power over us. There you go. That's enough for me. What do you think?
Well, that's perfect. Thank you. The realization is that we're not helpless as individuals out here, because by coalescing our thoughts, our intent, our purpose into the group mind consciousness of understanding how this was set up and how it works, we have the capacity of changing it and changing the literal thought forms of the world and the structure of how things are organized and how they function. And we've been doing this now for almost 2 years, prompting dominion in the world, which prompts everyone instinctively, intelligently, intellectually, to set up foundations and structures that will facilitate dominion. And that's where, in dominion, all trade would flow laterally. It would be equal. It would be balanced out. Each country could trade with their own funds, and they may go through a reserve system of some kind, an exchange association, but they wouldn't have to be paying it directly to the peak of the pyramid, which is the Illuminati. And so with that structure breaking down, of course, the Illuminati is fighting back with everything they have. And so this is what's holding up the reevaluation, the global reset, and everything else. So we will put energy on that today. And energy never loses its form. Give me just a moment. Unfortunately, I had to take that, so. All right. It takes energy to move energy. And energy is never lost. It simply changes its form. And the form is a direct response to whatever thought has created. Everything in existence has been created by thought. And the original thought, of course, is that of the Creator who wanted to experience all things possible. But in doing so, he also instilled in each living thing all over the world, the DNA, the capacity to be self-observant, to have its own internal thoughts, even though it's not done in such a manner as we do, where we communicate intelligence and information. The DNA of every living creature in the world has intelligence, it has self-awareness, and it has instinctive consciousness, so that it, in a group mind consciousness, can make choices, can respond to the environment and to its needs. And so we're going to work more with that today also, because this is where the power is this is literally the mind of God experiencing all things possible through all living things. And so by directing our intent and our intention into that world group mind consciousness of DNA, this is where the power is to facilitate changes and to create a reality that's beneficial to all living things. And that is called dominion. So we need energy, we need power to do this. The way we've learned to do this, which also benefits the earth and earth structures, is we've learned to go into the earthquakes that are building, the stress of earthquakes, and release that stress upward into a golden grid around the earth. And that golden grid is a reserve of energy that we can draw upon as we need it. It also is a protective shield against radiation from the sun, or gamma bursts and things of that nature. And so we're going to do that now. And it takes a little time to go around the ring of fire and to relocate those stress energies that are building up in the earth. But we do this by literally changing the form. Remember, energy is never lost, it simply changes its form. So as we pull energy upward from the earthquakes, what we're doing is relieving the stress. It's actually changing the form of the reality of the earth itself, the fault lines, because they make those minuscule movements and slips through the power of our intent, as well as following the guidance of the instinctive, intuitive consciousness of earth mind and earth, which is the Devic forms of consciousness. So this is the way we access earth mind, and this is the way you access anything you do, whether it's within your own system or outside of your system or working through a group mind. This is how you access and open into expanded consciousness. Take your awareness up into your forehead. Be in a very comfortable position. As we're speaking now and you're understanding what I'm saying, your focus is on the frontal lobes of your brain. So we move that focus of attention back a step into the soul center. This indwelling soul is that bit of consciousness that you have to work with. It allows you to have experientiality and freedom of choice in this world, in this reality. And it also allows you to govern the physical body, the low self, and to do things, to experience life. Now move your awareness a step further back into the psychic center. And this is a grid of consciousness that through the chakra system resonates out and touches everyone and virtually every living thing on earth, or every inanimate thing, because everything has frequency, And through the subconscious, through the chakra system, we can tune into every living thing or creature on earth. So just expand yourself laterally out to the group mind conscious of Wolf Spirit Radio, and out through Wolf Spirit Radio into anyone who is listening, and through their extended consciousness of everyone they know and have psychic attunement with, whether they're aware of it or not. We can reach right on out through and touch everyone in the world in the psychic grid. So do that now. Just feel yourself come into attunement. The power of God Force consciousness expressing the desire for dominion in the world, and we'll explain that more later. Now take another step backward, deep down in the middle of your head now to the primal area. And this is the center of the subconscious mind, of the channels that flow upward, up and around the spine, and downward into earth mind. So feel that extended consciousness now, spiraling upward through the crown chakra to oversoul, the male principle. And energy always travels in a clockwise direction. So from your point of awareness within your heart center, the positive polarity is spiraling upward to oversoul, and there's a corresponding energy that comes down from oversoul. Feel it spiraling down around, and it's coming down from your perspective counterclockwise. But between that positive up swirling energy and then positive down swirling energy, there's a balance of polarity there. And this is what holds form. Actually, the upward energy swirling would be a negative polarity. That one coming down is a positive polarity. The negative holds the power and potential of all manifest things in form. Now drop your awareness down the spine, into the low self, and out into earth mind, the crust of the earth, which holds the instinctive consciousness, the akashic records of everything that has DNA on the surface of the earth, or within the earth. Now touch into that negative polarity and bring that spiral of energy back up the spine until we come back into the heart center. And now feel a balance between that as above, so below. And the heart is the power center. This is where that aspect of the God Force consciousness dwells, that sustains and imparts the frequencies of life to the DNA and all living things. So take your awareness into the spirit center now, in the heart, and to feel that glow that begins to expand within you. And we're going to need a lot of power today, so we're going to work with this to expand that power. Feel the heart center, that spark of light in your heart expanding. Take yourself deeply within it. That going within it is unifying the soul with the heart center. This is carrying intent from the soul into the spirit center. And this is the center of the triad. And so now reach your point of awareness, unify with oversoul above your head. This is the male principle. This is the father. Make that connection from the heart center and the soul to the father, the male principle. And now extend your awareness down the spine, carrying that male principle down to the mother, the female principle below your feet and earth mind. And feel that connection, and then back to send a connection from that back to the spirit center. And this is the Holy Triad. It was expressed as Father, Son, the Holy Ghost by the religions, so that the male principle could maintain control. But in reality, it's Father, Mother, Holy Spirit, unifying polarity with will and intent. Now feel that within yourself. High self, low self, soul center in the spiritual center, and feel the power that grows within your system, that incredible light of life. With that triad, you have the power and hold the power in your own consciousness to alter anything within your life and your reality. And to do that, you use the clearing away techniques of clearing away, disassembling old facts and patterns and forms in your chakra system, your living biocomputer, and reprogramming or manifesting the positive opposite in your body, your consciousness, your soul. Now feel that glow within the triad growing, expanding outward around your bodies through filling up the aura with this living light of God Force consciousness. This is who you really are. Your individualized point of awareness within your mind is simply so you can have perspective of your surroundings and of life, and gives us the intelligence center to experience life in all ways possible. Now with this, we're going to take this power center down the spine, maintain that light, that power center. And as we go down, we're reaching laterally out into the world and unifying through World Spirit Radio, all living things. So that we have one complete force of consciousness, one intent. And our intent is to touch into earth mind now, the living consciousness of Gaia, and expand into Gaia consciousness to have direct access to the subtle energy consciousness and to the devic forces that hold the form of everything in reality. Now expand your awareness to through Earth Mind to Southern California and the earthquake grid, where we're going to empower this flow of energy and intent we have. To do this, just become the earthquake grid. Just merge with it and become one with it. It's a lateral feeling of feeling stress building up. That stress is energy that's seeking release in earthquakes So we lift that energy upward, upper spines, lift the stress upward, potential energy upward, through the crown chakra, out into the ionosphere, and surround the earth with this golden shield of energy, reinforcing, empowering our golden shield. At the same time, we're healing, preventing major earthquakes from occurring. You'll feel that flow come in your root chakra, and it feels a lot like kundalini energy. But where kundalini energy spirals, this also spirals. Energy always travels in a clockwise spiral, so that this is larger than the kundalini. This force spirals up the spines into the golden grid, and you feel the transfer through the system you've ignited. How we relieve the Devic forces holding these forms to continue to sustain these forms of the spiral, carrying energy upward. We move our point of awareness up the San Andreas Fault line to San Francisco, and further north all the way up to the Oregon border, and this one San Juan de Fuca plate in the ocean. And we just lift all that energy upward. It's releasing in minor earthquakes, so we pull the energy off so they can't build up to a major expression. Now move your awareness eastward. Move eastward to the Sierra Nevada mountains. Along the eastern border of California. This is a thrust fault energy that's lifting the mountains. Lift that energy upward. Now take your awareness further eastward to the southern end of the Rocky Mountain Range. This is an even more ancient thrust fault region. Lift that energy from Las Vegas all the way up through Nevada, the border of Idaho and Wyoming, up to the Yellowstone. And we tune into the Yellowstone caldera. There's ongoing minor activity there as the caldera becomes restless. Lift that energy from the caldera upward so the earthquakes do not break up the cap that's holding the caldera down. The energy is released through geysers at the present time. So we see the geysers erupting wholly and to the extent of their power and ability to clear energy, translated from the earth energy into steam, dissipate into the atmosphere. We take the geysers, take the energy they're dissipating up into the ionosphere to sustain our golden grid. Shift your awareness to the Pacific Northwest. A lot of minor subduction energy there from Portland on up into Seattle and up to the Canadian line. Some activity south of Findlay. I think that's the Mount Adams region. Lift that upward to preclude that turning into a volcano. Now tune in to the subduction zone all up and down the west coast. And just feel the stress that's there, and will that stress to become a harmonic release. So there's a vibrational release. It's like lubricating the plates all the way up to the Alaskan line. And it's interesting, we hear a tone amplifying now as we do that, transferring the stress into a tone of energy that's releasing, harmonizing in a harmonious release of energy, lubricating the plates. And we take this on upward now to the Gulf of Alaska and the subduction zone, the subduction plate going into, smashing into south central Alaska. There's been over 100 small earthquakes there since last we met. Lift that energy upward and again creates a harmonious release of energy, lubricating the plates, subducting under the Alaskan plate so it does not become, cannot build up into a massive event. This is interesting. You may feel this in your throat. I'm feeling this energy quite strongly in my throat. As release it, this is Earth Mind expressing. There, now we feel the harmony coming in. Now move your awareness down along the Aleutian Trench. Minor trench activity and subduction activity, as well as volcanic activity, all the way down in that loop to Russia. And there's a 5.3 at Attu Station in Alaska. Now move westward to the Kuril-Kamchatka Trench, extending down from Russia all the way down to Japan, where it turns into the Japan Trench. There's a 5.3 at Kamaishi, Japan, in the region of where the reactors were. So we lift that energy and the other energy of the subduction zone in Japan. We direct that energy to the radioactive cores and lift the radiation, neutralize the radiation, carrying it upward. And it's whirlwind, sucking the radiation upward as we transmute it, changing its form to a beneficial energy that's available to protect the earth, all the way up to the golden grid. And we will that to sustain, sustain, sustain. Now take your awareness southward down to the Philippines. Only minor activity there, down into the Indonesian crescent. It's minor ongoing activity. Now move eastward to New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, underwater volcanic activity there. Lift those energies upward. And on eastward to Tonga and the Tonga Trench. And that string of small islands in the southwest Pacific, down the Kermadec Trench to New Zealand, which is quiet right now. But we tune into New Zealand and the fault line that divides the islands, the North Island and the South Island, and continues on down to the South Pole. We just tune into that, generally lift the energy that causes the ongoing volcanoes, geysers, and again we establish the geysers and the volcanoes as being the natural vents that will continue to release excess energy in that region. And we feel in our throat and the back of our necks a build-up there in the South Island. So we release that. This would be in the region of North Church. Now we take our awareness eastward across the South Basin of the Pacific to South America, to Chile, and generally just lift the energy of the subduction zone along that entire fault line bordering western South America. Lift those energies, release them, harmonize so it becomes a harmony of release. In the area of Ikirki, there's ongoing activity there, which could be a volcanic event because it's so concentrated in one place. This is the third week we've seen that. Lift that energy upward, calming the volcano. Even though this is off the shore, and move your awareness on upward to Central America, the Guatemalan Trench that borders the western edge of those countries. Lift that energy upward and harmonize it. Then move eastward to Puerto Rico. Same thing's happening there. volcanoes and underwater terrain, releasing energy. Now move eastward to the Mediterranean area. 5.5 and Idra, Greece. And activity in Lazurion, Greece. Those are volcanic activities. Clear the energy through the ancient volcanoes in that entire area. Now move eastward to Zarand, Iran. And further eastward to Vanillapal, India, eastern India. And then eastward to central China, Xylanadu, now back across the Pacific to our point of beginning. And then to the central United States, in the area of Oklahoma. In the fracking zones, lift those energies upward. And further eastward to the New Madrid fault that is showing minor activity. And Cave City, Liburon, lift those energies upward. Now you're in expanded earth mind. Take your awareness again up your spine, all the way out to the golden grid. Feel yourself expand around the entire earth. Feel yourself as the positive energy of Oversoul. And looking downward on the face of the earth into the energetic fields of consciousness that hold the form of our daily realities. Focus on the structure of the financial structure of the world, and the ancient, not so ancient, the history of how domination took over the financial and religious organizations. And with the polarity, the male polarity of Oversoul, reach down into Earth Mind, into the female polarity, and be the observer of the financial system of the world as it came into being, and see the dark negativity of the dark side still holding the financial system in its grasp, and neutralize that focus of power that's in the Vatican and in Britain, Germany, and the United States, and the other major financial centers of the world, like China, Russia, and remanifest, transmute that negative force of consciousness that is the financial system, transmute that the structure, the pyramid structure that always takes energy upward and concentrates it at the top of the pyramid. Instead, see that energy flowing laterally, equally, around the world in dominion. Now I'm feeling a lot of pressure at the base of my brain as we do this. This is the force of that negative consciousness trying to fight back. Take your awareness to the base of your brain and release, clear, release from every human in the world that focal point with the power of the dominators have kept a slave collar on us. Release the world slave consciousness of people feeling that to survive in their primitive zone they have to meet the expectations of the domination forces of consciousness. Release the slavery of financial structure and of religious structure and of educational structure. See the actual frequencies of the world changing now, the major financial and religious centers, the shift of consciousness from black to gold, and we resonate energy from the golden grid to encompass these regions, resonating the golden grid into all financial, religious, and educational structures of the world, spreading all abundance laterally instead of vertically, spreading the love of God and the Creator laterally, freeing people of the focus on the structure rather than the fact that they are God. And see the educational institutions of the world responding by teaching the concepts and principles of dominion. See the world becoming a community, the world community rising now, replacing the world corporation. You should feel this energy pouring out your hands and into the psychic grid and touching every human on earth. And feel your hearts open up with the flow of galactic love and unconditional love pouring out through your hands into this grid, bringing information, knowledge of how to create the evolved world order. And feel joy come into your hearts. Joy of a job well done. And it is done in the 0 point of all living things. Feel the shift from domination to dominion. Feel the expansion of consciousness, bringing light into the darkness, to where all things of nature come back into balance and harmony. All living creatures are freed to evolve in their own experiential way. Empowering the devas to sustain life, and in empowering humans to be in dominion of all living things as the caretakers and nurturers of all things of life on earth. This is the lesson we came to learn. And we do this by releasing all negativity, all promptings of domination, shifting from low self-consciousness to high self-consciousness, lifting the consciousness of the world into the fourth dimension of time and space, where Earth can regain the living paradise it once was, and the balance and harmony of nature coming back into form, and the awareness that the abundance of Earth is to be nurtured and cared for rather than abused or concentrated for power. So the sustainability of Earth can continue to nurture all humanity as we grow and evolve out of this training field of consciousness that we're in, through the power of the Christ within us. We see this happening now. It is done. And so it is. Now hold that resonance through your systems and that expanded consciousness through the psychic grid that's touching everyone on Earth. Now hold that as you come back into your own awareness, back up the spine, out through the third eye, back into your own time and space, still holding the form of the evolved world order. That's a new term they just gave me in this meditation, but it expresses our intent and what needs to be done in the world. Not the new world order, but the evolved world order. And so it is. Okay, Dave, we're back. Does anyone of the group have any comments that you'd like to add?
The term evolved world order is excellent, and that needs to be used daily.
Yeah, it kind of says it all, doesn't it? Now feel the flood of joy come back in your heart. That's our confirmation signal for a job well done. Thank you all for participating and helping. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Frank.
You're welcome.